to have a big role to play in this one, as are those two supports. You've seen some big plays out of them already, some big hooks out of Eddie in the last couple of weeks as well. We'll see if he gets his hands on Thresh this time around. Kha'Zix was banned out, and for me, Kha'Zix right now is so strong that it's a good ban either way.
My question is now, do they want to get their hands on Lee or Evelynn? Because I think that has to be a priority for Gambit. Maybe banning one of those, and whichever one's not banned could be first picked for the Copenhagen Wolves. I think that is the argument they're going to go for. It does look to be the case right now, and that was as quick a lock-in as ever. Both of these teams have a lot of priority and a lot of emphasis on their junglers getting their lanes rolling. So as it stands, with Amazing being a comfortable jungler, having banned Kha'Zix, not having Lee, and forcing Diamond to go on something like Elise, Pantheon, Wukong, which is still up there.
Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao's possible as well. We'll need to see what Gambit decide to run.
Xin Zhao, of course, was played last week for the first time, actually, by Diamond, and, well, he put in a 9-1-10 performance against SK Gaming. Bit of a beast, scary game that was. For Gambit, though, what are they going to be picking up? Taking their time here about locking things in. Lucian, a favourite of Forgiven, and Genja is a good pickup and a good secure. Even, you know, even if it's about getting Forgiven a little bit more uncomfortable. I talked about Ryze earlier as well, and that will be picked in the first round by Gambit. So
Gambit lost their game to the Super Hot Crew last week because they gave Ryze away. We've seen Orianna being played by Alex against Selfie's Ryze last week. And it's one of those things that we keep talking about over and over. He scales incredibly well, and because of the way you have to build Ryze, he does even better in the late game. It's not just that his damage scales, his everything scales. He can be a tank, he can be a damage dealer, he can burst, he's got wave clear. So I think that's a smart lock-in. What it does also signal to me is potentially an early game jungler. If you combo Rune Prism with the Xin Zhao knockup from that 3-talent strike, that is a lot of time that you can hold a champion in place. So maybe going to see that Xin Zhao from Gambit.
So on the other side, you see that Coutard having a bit of a discussion with the rest of the team. One thing's for sure, Caitlyn is going to be picked here for the Copenhagen Wolves. Something we've already seen Forgiven a lot on. And Gragas actually for Coutard. Funnily enough, played in the earlier season a lot of Gragas. The last time we played it, it's not been for a while. It was the last time they played Gambit and they lost.
I want to see how Alex decides to lane, because what we've seen when Ryzes have come up against Gragases in the past is starting either Ruby Crystal and Ruby or Mana Crystal and Pots if they are feeling confident, and if they are somewhat afraid of their opponent, going Boots and Potions, making sure that they can dodge the barrels that is thrown out from Gragas. And because of the fact that Ryze is a ranged character as opposed to the melee of Gragas, with Boots, it actually gives Ryze an immense lane presence in those opening levels where he can trade evenly, avoid the barrels, and come out unscathed from poke against his opponent.
What will Gambit go for? Udyr. Wow, we've not seen Udyr from Diamond in a while. I can't even remember the last time that we saw Udyr actually coming out for Diamond. That's going to be locked in here, along with Morgana support for Edward. We know how scary Diamond used to be with Udyr. We knew how fearless he used to be, flashing over dragon walls to do early dragons and crazy stuff like that.
Once again, you've got a good scaling champion. I think if this Udyr does go into the jungle, could theorize there is the possibility of being top as well. But depending on where this Udyr goes, he's going to scale very, very well. We're adding another champion to the list. What I like about it is when you deal with an Udyr, the problems that you have, or the ways to counter him, is with terrain. You have Anivia walls blocking him. You put Jarvan, you know, when Udyr was popular, you'd see Jarvan's locking him in and he can't do anything. But against a Gragas, Caitlyn, and Evelynn, the only fear that Udyr has is the explosive cask. So on the condition that Udyr can get around that and dodge it, maybe flash it or avoid it, that's going to be his way into the game. That's going to be his tool with dealing with the Copenhagen Wolves. And raise your what? Heimerdinger is locked in.
Absolutely awesome stuff. A smile on Youngbuck's face there. Also getting Karma into this one. And one thing's for sure, running into Heimerdinger these days is something that you don't want to do.
So Gragas top lane with the Heimerdinger mid lane is my prediction for the Copenhagen Wolves. Putting Gragas against whoever the top lane is going to be for Gambit is going to make Gragas's playstyle much more in the advantage. I don't think it's going to be teamwork, we'll have to see. What I like about the Heimerdinger against the Ryze matchup, Ryze, as far as getting aggressive and running at you, is incredibly linear. He has to run, he has to flash over something. If Countout has got some good turrets down and lands himself a decent concussion grenade, you can stun Rise up, let your turrets with their laser beams shred through him. The one thing I don't like about that pick is on an aggressive front, Heimerdinger's not the greatest. He can help defend a siege area. He can sit with Karma and Gragas and poke under a tower, and if you engage in him, you can fall back to your turrets. But it's not the strongest at moving forward.
So, final pick Zed. This is somewhat surprising for me. Darian playing Rise is something that, again, I don't even remember the last time that we've seen this happen for him. You know, we all know what the Darian-style champions are in this top lane. Usually it's something that can run extremely fast. Usually away from bunches of champions. He's going to have Rise this time around. Alexic gonna have Zed. We know how scary Alexic is on Zed.
So I want to see where the Copenhagen Wolves put their champions because it's going to determine the matchup so much. I wonder, I don't know who's been playing Heimer in solo queue for either Countout or Youngbuck. So at this point in time, it does look like it's going to be a Heimer top lane. So Heimer doing against Rise, it's still a matchup we talked about. The theory is still there. Rise runs at him, you put your towers down. In the mid lane, that Gragas versus Zed, that's something that we've seen a little bit more of. And as long as Gragas can keep Zed under control with his barrels and keep some poke on him, Alex is not going to be able to go all in. But I like the Zed pickup because he can jump onto Heimer. He can get past his turrets, blow him up in the mid game, and once Heimer's down, his turrets stop firing very shortly after, and that's going to allow Gambit to just run through with their Rise and Udyr onto the composition of the Copenhagen Wolves.
More first-time LCS picks here. That's what we like to see. And as we get into this one, let's have a look at your guys' votes from LOLesports.com. It's a big one. 84% of you have picked Gambit to win this game.
And I can't fault them for that. I think as we're getting closer to playoffs, Gambit have the ability to be the #1 team in Europe. They always have, and they need to make it work now. We've seen Darian on that AP top laner. I actually think the Champion of Rise suits his playstyle. Split push, get involved, just run into a team. And as the game goes on, he'll be more likely to actually run out of the opponent's team as well. Because we know Darian has a tendency to give up kills. The thing that he can't afford to do is give up kills against a Heimer early on, especially a Heimer with teleport, because he does have very high base values on his damage, and his turrets have thousands of hit points. So as long as he's alive around his turrets, it's difficult to get through.
So here we go then, the Copenhagen Wolves versus Gambit. We've got Heimerdinger, we've got Udyr, both for the first time here in the LCS. Question is, who's going to be the stronger of the two? On opposing sides for this one, and there is Youngbuck with that Heimerdinger, whose locks are just absolutely fantastic these days.
The pressure for the Copenhagen Wolves is to land stuns and slows on Rise and Udyr as they're trying to approach. So that means that the grenades from Heimerdinger, as well as the zoning power of Karma and Gragas, are the important facets. If Gambit can find ways around those turrets, around those grenades, and get past Unlimited's, Inner Flame, his Q slows on the floor, that's where Gambit's going to run amok. It's not a traditional way of locking people down from the Copenhagen Wolves side, but they've got non-traditional champions. So we need to see how this new reworked Heimerdinger is going to deal with Rise in the top lane.
And funny we should talk about that, because Youngbuck has broken the mold, really, of his champion pool. I mean, we've seen him playing the very standard bruiserish top lane, as Renekton was, of course, one that he was always famous for, but we've seen him bringing out Gragas in the top lane with the win against Millennium. Now we see him pulling out the Heimerdinger in this top lane. But the Wolves need wins at this point of the season. This is really the crunch time for him, and these have to work out.
So for the Copenhagen Wolves to make playoffs, they need to win 2 of the 4 games here in Super Week. If they win 1 game, they can tie with the Super Hot crew and potentially look at tiebreaker scenarios. We'll need to see how they actually perform this game. I think one of the things you need to remember with Heimerdinger is that his passive does actually give champions and turrets around him additional health regen. And the reason I highlight that point, I feel like the siege potential from Copenhagen Wolves is immensely strong. With turrets for defense, with the poke from Gragas, Caitlyn, and Karma, and the regen innately from Heimerdinger and his passive, it means that Gambit need to all in, and it needs to work. Because if they all in and don't kill the Wolves, the regen and the engage that they've got to get through puts Gambit in a very bad position. So Copenhagen Wolves, I imagine, get towers, get sieging, and let the comp do the work for them.
And we've seen a lot of poke already landed down in this bottom lane. Even before they got to the lane, Gambit were being hit over the wall by both Forgiven and Unlimited, and Genja having to really stay back from this one. The Copenhagen Wolves standing right up at the front, and that early advantage certainly going their way in this one, as Genja once again going to try and get some damage back this time and brings Unlimited to about half HP, but again just gets hit himself right under the turret.
So we'll see how that dual lane continues to pan out. I'm glad we caught a brief glimpse there of Diamond, currently 1 point into Tiger, Turtle, and Bear. And I want to see how he's going to itemize, because this is the first time we've seen, Udyr in the 2014 season. It'll be interesting to see which route he's going to skill. The fact that he has not gone for a Phoenix stance skill point yet already tells you it's not going to be your traditional AoE farm-heavy Udyr. If he's going to go Tiger stance, which we've seen last year, that is a lot more damage-centric. It's a lot more, I will execute my opponents rather than farm the hell out of my jungle.
And it's a lot of damage as well. If this Udyr really gets rolling, Diamond of all people will be able to punish the Copenhagen Wolves from this one. This mid lane, interesting to see Countered on Gragas versus Alex HZ, and we've seen countless times, if Alex gets himself on these assassins, and if he gets rolling, if he's able to get things started in terms of those kills and getting some good farm going, he can be absolutely deadly, especially when he starts roaming towards those other lanes.
The one thing I do like about the fact that Countered is on Gragas, he can knock Alex away. When Alex engages with the Deathmark and those shadows, you just get him away. Now Alex is on the wrong side of his minion wave, and here comes Amazing.
Yeah, this is a big bait, but there's a Tiger flashing to your face. Counter goes low. The Ignite is running. Is it enough? No, it's not. He gets up. Diamond gonna fall low, but Amazing will die. First blood to Zed, and that's what I was talking about.
Flash, bear stun stance from Diamond, follow it up with the damage and the buffs, allows Gambit to pick up first blood. The gold goes to Alex as well. Not only does he get first blood and the gold bonus, he now has double buffs. If Countered didn't have a tough lane to deal with already, he's now got a double buff Zed at level 5 to deal with when he comes back to lane. He got away with his life. Now Forgiven's been caught.
Oh, but look at Edward. He's gone far too low. Piltover won't connect, though. That surely would have been the end of Edward. We saw the Ignite being used from Unlimited, and now Genja going aggressive. Actually going to do a lot of damage, but he's going to get locked up. Actually, a Black Shield just saving him right at the last second.
Yeah, that Dark Binding flew out from Edward. If Unlimited had stuck around to try and kill Genja, the Binding plus the barrier flash that Genja had available may have allowed them to secure a kill. It didn't connect, so at the end of the day, Forgiven and Unlimited have forced Genja and Edward away. Not only have they used their superior poke and damage in the early game, there is a 23 CS advantage for Forgiven. We heard in the pregame how Alex was saying Forgiven and Unlimited are the strongest players of Wolves. They are making it count.
Here knows now that this is such a hard lane for him. Wouldn't even surprise me to see Alex H pushing as fast as he can to hit that level 6 mark, and then putting down his own mark, the death mark, and trying to take down Countered. Meanwhile, Diamond is waiting around by this top side. Will he be able to get in on towards Youngbuck? He's waiting by that tribush. There is a ward there. Comes around in turtle stance, and he's going to go flying in. Rune Prison's already down. Youngbuck's going to have to flash, and that is now an unsafe Heimerdinger in the top lane.
Successful gank, so advantage in favor of Gambit, but look at the damage Darian's taking. Darian is farming relatively well. He started with that Mana Crystal, most likely going to upgrade to a tier. Otherwise Catalyst if he's afraid of the poke. But you see Youngbuck, he's got triple Doran's Blade on this Heimer. He wants to get as early an advantage as possible, but he is going to be delaying his core build. And I think until Heimerdinger gets himself a Zhonya's Hourglass, he is always going to be at threat of dying the moment you get to him. No flash available. Next time Diamond comes around, if his flash is available, Flash Bear Stun could catch him out.
Amazing there, just clearing out that pink orb. That's going to leave Darian a little bit more unsafe in that top lane with the unseen threat of that Evelyn to come around. Meanwhile, Diamond, with his single assist, is going back on his merry way. Tier already in there for Darian, and already has one part of that Catalyst to protect her as well. So he's going to be stacking that up whilst Youngbuck pushes him right up onto his own turret.
Yeah, so Darian actually farming pretty well under the turret there. It's quite nice to see him landing the abilities, missing only one of those CS. It also demonstrates a definite point that he's practiced the champion. You know, it's one of those things where you always see, well, let's see how Darian does. He's losing a little bit in CS, but holding as even as you can against all of the range and the poke from those Hextech micro missiles, as well as the grenades coming out from Youngbuck's Heimer.
blue buff exchanges coming in. Alexic will be given his count-out just briefly before that picked up one of his own. Actually, Alexic does have level advantage right now. Count-out, though, has just dinged a level 6 there in that mid lane as well, and does have a slight CS lead, but Alex will catch that up with this wave.
Very important to note, that very big CS advantage that Forgiven had over Genja earlier is slowly shrinking. It's now only 13 when it was about 20 to 25 a few minutes ago. So Genja, now that he's returned to lane, is CSing pretty well underneath the turret. We do see that Dark Binding once again going a bit wide. The strength of the Morgana was not picked for the laning phase. Morgana, in my mind, was picked in case Evelyn comes running in from the side along with a speed boost of Karma and Gragas. It's going to allow Soul Shackles to protect Genja and whoever else is threatened. And very importantly, if that Black Shield can get thrown onto Ryze or Udyr, it's going to allow them to run through the slow and the CC of Copenhagen Wolves. So we need to see how effective Edward can be at placing those shields on his team members.
At this rate, though, that tower's going to go down before Gambit are able to do anything about it. We've actually seen Diamond headed back off to base. He's going to come back into the mix here soon. Unlimited is decently low on mana as well, so that means maybe a brief respite here for Gambit. As Amazing now has worked himself up. The problem is there's 3 turrets there. Darian's never going to come out and go against those turrets. He's going to fight here a little bit with Youngbuck, but that's what I said. He can push out a little, but there's no way that he'll run into those.
No, I don't expect Darian to engage into those turrets, and because I'm not expecting him to move forward, Amazing's going to have to pull off an amazing gank to catch Darian out. Agony's Embrace is available. They're going in.
And they are going to push in onto him, and there is a stun coming in. Darian going low. The turret will finish him off. Youngbuck gets the first kill for the Wolves.
That was a very well-played grenade. It manages to stun Darian up under the turret, out of range of his own turret. And when the mega turret gets placed down from Heimer, that alone had 1,000 hit points and is melting the HP of Darian. Gambit, however, will secure the dragon, as we see from them so many times. The moment Darian gets jumped on, Gambit have this knack or ability to take an objective. And at the end of the day, it's going to keep that gold fairly even, considering that top tower did fall.
That was always the case as well. If you think back to Diamond playing Udyr last year, that early dragons was something that that Gambit always went for. This time around, that bottom lane, we said it before, there is a disparity in terms of CS there, and they're throwing everything they've got at Edward and Genja to try and force them away from that tower and pick up their second in the game. Probably the next couple of waves, they should be able to get in there and take that down.
And that's because of the composition of Copenhagen Wolves. We've seen Amazing, he hasn't come bottom lane at all. You've seen Forgiven and Unlimited poking that turret as much as possible, and they should be able to back away. I think they didn't have vision of Diamond, but you could see a little bit of hesitation. If Copenhagen Wolves can continue this very strong map push by getting the towers down quickly and rotating around, that is how their composition can do well. Protect the flanks with vision and make sure Ryze and Udyr don't run at you, and then allow your very good zoning of Gragas and Heimer and Karma to protect you around those turrets.
Where's Darian off to? He's just thrown a ward over the blue buff wall, and he's going to head back up towards this top lane. Still only a couple of CS behind, but there is the outer turret now for the Copenhagen Wolves, finally being finished off. Meanwhile, Darian going to come straight in on towards Youngbuck, actually fancying his chances here at putting down good damage, and in the end, a fairly even trade, about half HP each.
Even enough trade. Youngbuck has been very, very good with those concussion grenades. Every time Ryze stops to cast spells, it actually allows Youngbuck to line his E up very well. Look at that. Another perfect stun, but he's in trouble here.
Oh, the stun for Diamond is going to be flashed on towards Youngbuck, but he actually nukes down Darian. Diamond does get the kill,
Ooh.
but does he get away just about there from the Mega Turret?
Yeah, so that's one of the benefits of that Heimerdinger. He's in trouble as a champion, but he's still close enough to his turrets to allow the turrets to secure the kill. So at the end of the day, 1-for-1 trade, a little bit of additional assist gold goes over to the side of Gambit, but they're trying to shut Heimer down. He's got a CS lead, he's got that needlessly large rod, he's working his way towards an hourglass. Not only will it help him stay alive with his turrets, it will also counter Zed. Forgiven, this is going to hurt.
And actually, Forgiven putting some good damage back. They've caught Kaltard, but Edward here is all alone, and he's going to get locked up from this. Does run his ulti. He's going to pull down Amazing, but not before the last hate spike gets the kill.
Yeah, no Black Shield available. It had already been used leading up to that. So Edward just out of position, giving up an uncontested kill to the Copenhagen Wolves. Thanks to the tower advantage that the Wolves have and some slight CS numbers in their favor, they've actually built up a 2,000 gold lead. The trick for the Wolves is getting past those those outer turrets though. So we need to see more wards on their side, and we need to see moving around as a group, because the skirmishing power of Gambit, I still feel is stronger. With the burst damage of Zed and the mobility of Udi and Rise, who have got built-in movement speed increases, if they catch the Wolves in those 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 scenarios, Gambit do have a lot of tools and a lot of damage to work with.
Sorry. Blue buffs coming into play and again being gifted over to those mid laners. The CS between them is still very, very even. 117 to 116. Looking at the items, Brutalizer and the Cutlass for Alex Ich. On the other side, Kautar, of course, moving up to that Seeker's Arm Guard and the Zhonya straight after that, needing that extra armor to really stay alive against Alex Ich's Zedu. And let's not forget, did get that first blood earlier on in the game. Right now, Gambit are actually setting themselves up with 3 men towards middle. The Wolves themselves have 3 in there, and actually it leaves us just in a bit of a switch around, because Alex and Kautar both moved down to that bottom lane. Both duos came towards the middle. Heimer and Rise are going to continue to farm on that top side.
Yeah, Alex is not going to be able to deal with a Caitlyn Karma lane. So had he stuck around in that mid to try and 1v2, it would have given the advantage to Wolves. We see him now rolling around just to pick up that white camp before he goes back into lane. So I quite like the decision. What it also allows Gambit to do is respond to any invades that the Wolves put down. If the Wolves group up and try to challenge for a buff or go for a dragon, because the duo of Genji and Edward are in the middle lane, they can respond quicker and get in range to make plays for their team. Right now, you can see the Wolves grouping up around this mid lane, and I think Gambit needs to respond very quickly if they want to protect the HP of this turret.
Oh, Edward's going to take a lot of damage. Will Kautar throw his ultimate in there? No. Not like he wasn't close enough. The Cullen coming out there from Genji. That's going to get rid of the minion wave and make sure that the Copenhagen Wolves don't stick around for too long, because they did do a lot of damage to that tower. But here we see Alex. He's going to be playing that Zed to his full potential, pushing down onto the bottom lane, doing some damage onto the turret, but knew that Kautar was moving in already from that from the mid lane to the bottom.
So pretty good play from Copenhagen Wolves. They get a lot of damage on that turret, but they don't actually get the turret down. What I like from the Wolves is all of the vision and the wards that they've placed down in the bottom half of the river. If you look at all of those ward placements around the buffs of Gambit and around the entry to their own jungle, it gives the Wolves a lot of information to work with. Their composition cannot afford to get flanked, because they need time to set up as a team and as a unit. So right now, we're going to keep our eyes on Youngbuck. He's picked himself up Home Guard boots. Gambit nowhere near this tower to respond. Unlimited and Forgiven just are gifted a global objective. Home Guard boots on this Heimerdinger of Youngbuck plus those Triple Dawn, still working towards Hourglass. But I think this is just going to be a testament to the tower defense game that he wants to play, protecting his own turrets and responding to the map. You can see already positioning themselves for this dragon. If Jaime gets some wards down, I don't think Gambit have the tools to break through that line just yet.
No, and that's not going to happen for them. We saw the missiles coming out. We saw Kautar throwing his barrel into position, and Copenhagen Wolves going to do a lot of damage to this dragon. No one from Gambit in range from this one, and there is a pickup. Youngbuck keeping everyone zoned out with his turrets. Ace in the hole going to be blocked out by Gambit, by Diamond, and Gambit just have to back away. They've lost that dragon, the second one of the game. That leaves us at 1-1 in terms of those.
So just to give you an idea on the damage that those turrets are dealing right now, Heimerdinger's basic turrets have got 450 hit points. Their basic attacks are dealing 60 damage per attack, and their beam is hitting for 230. Those are on the basic turrets. When he puts down his upgraded Apex turret, which is the major one, the auto attacks are hitting for 160 damage, which is just shy of Caitlyn's damage, and the burst from the beam is 430 damage to targets hit by that beam. Also on that big turret, the beam charges faster in this particular patch. So that's one of the reasons that Gambit cannot afford to run through that line of turrets. They get so many auto attacks and they eat so many beams that their HP is low, and it allows the burst damage of Evelyn and Gragas to force them away and shut them down.
Of Evelyn, it's amazing that's been tasked now to defend this bottom outer turret away from Alex Ich, who's constantly played now down in this bottom lane and actually has built himself up a nice healthy CS lead. In fact, he's going to go diving into Amazing here, who's trying to run rings around. The death mark does go up. Diamond going to get sandwiched against the wall there. Good barrel from Kautar, but he just switches out to bare floor and will walk away.
Very well played by Alex. Even with the Giant's Belt and the Sunfire Cape there on the side of Evelyn, didn't see if she just picked that up. She probably did have it in the fight. Just immediately melted through. Blade of the Rune King and Brutalizer, enough to burst through Amazing, and the Shield of Agony's Embrace. Alex needs to keep playing the split push game. If Alex can get to a point where he's controlling the map or pulling members of Wolves towards him, it reduces the strength of the Wolves composition. So I think as far as split pushing is concerned, that's definitely the way to go. In addition, eventually Rise and Udia are going to be very strong. And Limited, this is very brave. He gets some poke down, but there was no one to back him up except for Forgiven.
Not scared, but we saw how scared Gambit were of them. Are we going to see them move through the jungle? This is where Unlimited needs to be careful. A Dark Binding comes out. It was in the right aim, but didn't quite have the range there as Unlimited just stepped back from it. They do have Youngbuck wait. Sadly for them, they were on top of a pink ward, and that spotted them out this entire time.
Yeah, right now Youngbuck has now responded. He's got that. He's got his ultimate, his upgrade available. And I think what I like about the Heimerdinger play thus far is Youngbuck has been doing a good job with using the zone that his turrets create for him. In lane, he was keeping Youngbuck back, and even though he gave up a kill to a gank, he still secured a kill himself. We've seen for that dragon fight, Youngbuck with his home guard boots was in place quick enough to set up multiple turrets and forced Gambit to work around it. So Copenhagen will keep growing this lead. It's now up to 3,000 gold as they're playing aggressive. They're playing on the invade game, which is what they can afford to do when they group up.
Oh, Heimerdinger, this is not good news. Zed gonna dive in there. Is the death mark enough? No, not quite. Darian now gonna get knocked into the team. Forgiven picks up that kill. The culling doesn't do any killing, and they will have to back off as another good barrel comes out from Kautar.
Youngbuck needs to get his Zhonya's Hourglass. If he had his Hourglass, he could have stayed there and pulled more members of Gambit towards him. Forced to flash over the wall, gets away with his life. But Alex is almost able to one-shot him. The problem is, they need to burn his Hourglass first and then go for the death mark. Right now, Copenhagen Wolves grouping as a 4-man in this top tower. They don't have those Heimerdinger turrets to work around, so they're going to be relying on the wave clear of Caitlyn and Gragas, and now Heimer's with him with Home Guard as well. There's a lot of damage that can go down.
Youngbuck taking your advice there, finishing off that Zhonya's Hourglass. That leaves 2 on the team for the Copenhagen Wolves, makes Alex's job a lot harder. Who does he go to? With that death mark one of them can cancel all of that damage out. Right now, the Copenhagen Wolves have certainly set their sights on taking this inner turret in the top lane. Gambit are roughly around there. We can see that Genja is a little bit far away. He's doing the raids right now and probably needs to get involved.
Yeah, what we need to see from Edward is a very fast talisman of ascension, because the only way for Gambit to deal with this is to run at Wolves. They're trying to do it, but look at all of the poke that they're taking. They've lost the tower.
They've lost the tower and they might lose Diamond here. The hate spike's coming in. Good damage. Kautar finishes it off with his ultimate. Maybe should have held on to that one to go a little bit further, but kill's a kill. They got the tower. There's minions pushing the inner mid turret as well. This should be 2 in a row for Copenhagen Wolves.
There's nobody from Gambit that can respond to this right now. With the damage that they're putting down onto this turret, it's 50% of the HP. The wave clear has been good. Alex was able to use his shadows effectively, but it's not going to save the turret. Copenhagen Wolves go 5-0 on the turret game. They hold themselves a 5,500 gold lead right now, and they've got a minute to go for Dragon. They can buy, get back to Dragon Pit, put the turrets down, and repeat the previous Drake control.
Good gold to spend. 50 seconds until Dragon comes back in as Gambit struggle to scramble out of their base and get some vision down around that area. It's Edward that will be tasked with that one and will immediately find himself a pink ward there off to the side, and may land, in fact does land that Dark Binding onto Youngbuck. But honestly, do you really want to fight against that Heimerdinger who's got his Zhonya, 3 Doran's rings and these Sorcerer shoes? I guess we already saw the answer to that one. Edward backing straight away from it.
Well, we'll see how it works out for them. At this point in time, I think Gambit, they finally got their first tower. And I think if you look at the champions that they've got, Udyr is not a threat right now. He's only got a Hex Drinker and that Spirit of the Elder Lizard. Nobody from the Wolves is going to be terrified of that. In addition, Darian's still working towards that power spike. Luckily for Gambit, they are going to scale well. And the most difficult part of sieging an opposing team is when you get to those inhibitor turrets, which is where the Wolves are starting to hit that point. If the Copenhagen Wolves misplay under an inhibitor turret, they can give up multiple kills and potentially multiple objectives. Right now, Genja, he's split pushing this top lane, should get the tower down with his minion wave. So I think for Gambit, this has to become a stall game. This has to be wave clear, don't give up inhib turrets, and wait till your Udyr and Ryze become terrifying to run down the members of the Wolves.
I like that Genja's actually picked up a Bloodthirster first here as well. Nice to see him going, at least for now, the more standard route that we like to see. Also, the ace in the hole that came to Diamond a little bit earlier on did a lot of damage despite the items that Diamond has, and that's with that last Whisper, the second item pickup for Forgiven. Knows that he's got to chew quite a lot of that armor moving forward, and Gambit here wrestling or trying to wrestle control back of the Baron area. Little do they know there's a ward right on top there at the front of things, so they've got full vision over what Diamond is going to do.
We do see Unlimited getting vision, but there is some backup behind him. Amazing tries to chase in. Now, Unlimited could be in trouble.
Yeah, Alex going to go in on top of him. They didn't realize that Amazing was there. Ace in the hole. Going to come through, but Alex went back off to his shadow. Survived it. Oh, what a flash from Alex Sage. Getting away from Youngbuck's turret. That was some crazy reaction.
Very well played by Alex. He gets a kill onto Unlimited. It is much needed gold. The problem is, what is it going to net them? Gambit cannot string the kill onto Unlimited into an objective. They need to try get on that mid turret if they could. Alex gets away with his life, survives the ace in the hole, flashes over the turret from Youngbuck, does manage to survive. At the end of the day, small win for Gambit, but it didn't net them any global objectives, and that's what they are desperately in need of.
That's always a start for them, though, and we always used to say if you give Gambit a finger, they'll take your entire arm. Whether that's quite a scenario right now, I'm not, to be honest, so sure about it. The Copenhagen Wolves have maintained good control. Genja is literally in the middle of no man's land here. He's just cleared himself out of Warden. While the Wolves had vision of him there, I think they expected more people to be with Genja, considering he's on their side of the map clearing out. Wasn't actually the case. He was alone doing that, but they decided not to push in there and try and punish him for it. Yeah,
it's definitely the case. When you see an AD carry playing that aggressive and that brave, you immediately start to question, where is everybody else? And right now, Gambit, they've made their focus very clear. They don't want to run the risk of giving up this Baron. At this point in time, we do see that Diamond is level 13. He's maxed out his Tiger stance, he's maxed out his Turtle stance, 3 points into Bear. We'll see if he wants to continue skilling up that Bear stance, and part of the reason I highlighted, it does give him that additional move speed as he continues to rank that one up. So, you know, he gets he gets to avoid unit collision, so when he's running at the Copenhagen Wolves with the black shield on, that is their initiation power. And flash Bear stun stances is the way to play Udyr, the way to get kills. We'll see if he can make it work as now Gambit hard pressed to defend this Baron. Youngbuck is split pushing on the bottom lane. He has teleport to react if a fight were to break out.
Continue to push through though that bottom lane, and Gambit are going to have to react to that at some point. But it could be scary here from Darian just locking up Amazing. He came a little step too forward, but both teams just hovering around this Baron area. Amazing now will back away, and that's because there's a big wave of minions being pushed down by Diamond on the top side of the map. Meanwhile, Heimerdinger and Zed are going to be meeting up here in the jungle. Alexic did spot Youngbuck now, and he's going to start chasing in. Youngbuck already using his flash, and Alex decides to stop chasing.
No towers from Youngbuck, so we can't pick a fight. Even with the Zhonya's Hourglass enabled, because the fight was on Alex's terms and Youngbuck was not in his zone of control, it meant Alex had the damage to get through his Hourglass and kill him. And you have to add into the fact that that grenade did not connect, did not stun Alex up, so there was no additional time to get that going. Desperate Power will be available for Darren in just a few seconds as the rest of the Wolves are looking for a fight. They're trying to force something, and it's just going to be a matter of who steps out of place first.
Again, it always is like a magnet there in that mid lane, just farming up. The Wolves move around to see if there's any opportunity for them. As was, they've managed to force Gambit away from Baron Pit, which allows Unlimited once again to start clearing things out. But we see that Youngbuck there, along with those Caitlyn traps, just basically setting themselves up a line of defense and saying to Gambit, if you want to come and walk to us, if you want to push through to us here, or even check the front side of Baron, you've got to walk through a hell of a lot.
So the trick for Gambit is to work around that, because Copenhagen Wolves want to pitch their tents in a very clearly defined area of the map. When the Wolves begin fortifying a zone, Gambit need to push elsewhere on the map. Gambit need to get their lanes pushing. You can see Alex is farming and pushing up that top wave. The bottom wave is in favor of Gambit. So if Gambit can make use of the side lanes and force Copenhagen Wolves to come to them, you can mitigate a lot of the power that the Wolves have in their composition. So I think that has to be a focus for Gambit, leaving Genja, Darian, or Alex to push those side lanes.
What kind of time frame, in your opinion, do we have on this game? We talked about it before. Rise, gonna take the time to get second up. Already had that Rod of Ages, the tier coming into this one. If the Copenhagen Wolves suit, again, I was talking about Millennium earlier, the Wolves have been in a similar scenario when it comes to finishing out games. They've really dragged them out. Do they suffer if it goes longer?
I actually think Gambit will gain the advantage when it comes to the team fights, but I feel that Gambit have a much they have an inferior composition at taking towers. Because of the stupid amounts of wave clear on the side of Copenhagen Wolves, in addition to the turrets that come out from Youngbuck's Heimerdinger, taking a tower while you're in a siege situation is next to impossible. And that's the reason you see Gambit continuing the split push game. On the other side of the coin, because Gambit have got this member that's very ineffective at sieging a turret with Heimer. He's good at defending an area, but not taking the turret down unless you commit all the way up and put your turrets right there, which opens you up to ganks. I feel like we could be in for a long game because neither of these comps are particularly effective at completely blowing up your opponents and then running down for objectives. So as long as the Wolves are not caught out of position, caught unawares, they should be able to control. You see Youngbuck, he's putting his turrets down to zone it out, but they are getting melted, and Alex is pushing the top lane.
Pushing that top lane out, no teleport, of course, on the side of Gambit, so he won't be able to get involved should needs be, as Kautar here gonna take a lot of damage from Darian. That turret has now gone down. In fact, Alex is gonna continue to push. There's the culling coming out, doing good damage. Unlimited gonna get jumped on. They get the kill onto him as well. Genja at the front doesn't die. We saw Youngbuck trying to put in enough damage. Barrier was burnt out. They've got the turret here, but Alex Ich, he's taking down the inhibitor turret in that top lane.
Copenhagen Wolves are going to get the inhibitor, and this is so important. Gambit should not have given that objective up. The weakness that Copenhagen Wolves had was forcing that objective, and in a 5v4, even though they lost Unlimited, they got a very crucial play. Now we are going to see Kautar running away from Diamond, and we've seen Amazing defending the top lane inhibitor. Youngbuck can now start to push out that top lane, use the minions to his advantage, use the turrets to his advantage, wait until super creeps are in Gambit's base, and then siege the next turret. Now we see Youngbuck going to force a Diamond away thanks to that turret placement. And I think Gambit, they got a kill, but it wasn't enough. We didn't see them committing to defend that objective, and I really feel like if Wolves play the map well, they're in a good spot.
Alex going for Amazing, he's done enough damage there as well. The death mark goes off, and that will get the kill. That leaves them 4v5, or 5v4 really, for another 35 seconds or so. And this is where we're going to see whether Gambit can do anything with this kind of advantage. We've got Edward waiting off to the side. He's going to look to catch a cheeky binding over the side, but those two turrets making it a little bit harder to land, and Edward is going to throw in there, does land the binding on towards Youngbuck. The culling going to come out, but the ace in the hole goes back, and Genja actually ends up worse out. Youngbuck flashes in, uses ultimate rockets as well, but look at Alex once again pushing down here. That inhibitor will finally go down.
Yeah, and he manages to get away from that explosive cost. We see Alex is being chased down by Unlimited.
He's dead now for sure, and it is going to be the belly slam of Kautar that gets the shutdown.
So Youngbuck is showing a mastery of Heimerdinger. He's picked up 2 great kills in high pressure situations, landing the rockets and the grenades when he needs to. So they traded 1-for-1 in the mid lane. Diamond is being chased away from Kautar. Body slam doesn't connect. Kautar doesn't manage to get the kill. With super minions in 2 lanes now, this game becomes all about who controls their minions better. Wolves, they're starting Baron off. This is against 3 members of Gambit. This could go badly.
This could go badly. Darian doing some good damage in there, but they turn and burn on towards Gambit. Diamond actually will be able to walk off. Darian done the same. Edward and the rest of the team now coming back into this one, but they need to be so very careful how low they go. The Baron is moving towards half HP. Edward is at less than half HP himself. Diamond takes a big hit as well. Darian's not even there for this one, and then continue on with the Baron. He's now got so little HP remaining. I don't think that Gambit can get close. No, they won't. The Copenhagen Wolves take the first Baron of the game.
Yeah, it must be one of the longest Barons in competitive LCS history, but they make it work. The reason Gambit couldn't get in there to interfere was the 3 turrets from Youngbuck. It was putting enough zone and enough damage to make Gambit hesitate. You've seen how low Diamond was going from the poke of both Youngbuck and Coutard. Now, with Copenhagen Wolves having that Baron buff, it's going to give them somewhat of an advantage if they continue to siege up, and if they actually try to force fight. The regen and the stats could play in their favor. The problem is Alex has made it clear he doesn't actually care too much about the big engagements. Alex is playing the map game. He's playing the split push, and he may go aggressive on Coutard. Coutard does have Hourglass, so this could be an outplay, but Amazing is waiting in the wings. I think Alex, he's bitten off a little more than he can chew, I think.
Showing himself here, and Coutard just going to wait. There's the death mark coming in. Alex may have gone too early on this one, but dashes out.
Yeah, Coutard does manage to get away. That Hourglass was very, very close to being too early. So Alex gets out alive thanks to the Ghost Blade and the mobility that it offers him. The rest of Gambit are doing a very, very smart thing. You force Copenhagen Wolves to react, and the power of Heimerdinger gets reduced. I was hoping that we're going to siege that bottom turret, but not enough vision in the jungle or the river forces Gambit to back away. The moment people left that middle lane, there was no more information to work with. So probably the safe bet. But if Gambit want to bring themselves back into this game, that's how they've got to play it. Force the Wolves to come together.
Could be bad news for Edward, getting hit by the slow. Are they going to be able to lock him up? Ace in the hole comes through! Oh, so close to finishing off Edward.
Yeah, if Youngbuck had hit a single one of those upgraded rockets with his damage, he would have hit. Darren's in trouble.
Darren gets knocked back into the rest of the team. Youngbuck will pick up another kill. 4-1-2 now. Is this Heimerdinger? This is a 5v4 without the rise for 40 seconds. The inhibitor's not going to survive it.
Alex is he cannot defend it. So you see the rest of Wolves, they're going to get the inhibitor. We do see Youngbuck backing. I think this is smart. He should go to that bottom lane to defend or to deal with the super minions in the top lane. Alex considering, does he want to split push? Does he want to recall? Gambit cannot fight in those enclosed spaces. Right now, Alex still undecided. There's going to be some kills here for potentially Gambit, as there are 3 or 4 members of the Wolves caught in the jungle. We'll see what Gambit can do about this.
There they go, in towards Amazing, but Diamond's taking a big hit. There's a death mark coming down towards Amazing. Will it be enough to finish him off? No, and Alex Hitch goes down, and now Forgiven gonna net into the rest of the team. Has he got the damage? Diamond flash stuns in, but now Diamond might just lose his life. There it is, double kill for Unlimited. And this is bad news now for Gambit. 50 seconds on Diamond, almost as much on Alex Hitch.
You have to question what Gambit were thinking. They went into 4 members of the Copenhagen Wolves as only 2. The rest of Gambit were not close enough to be factors in that fight. Now with 4 members of Wolves as well as Baron buff still on their side, they're trying to push the Nexus turrets. There is a Rise and a Lucian plus culling available, so they should be able to defend these Nexus turrets at least until Diamond and Alex are respawning. And we'll see if anyone else goes down, because if Gambit suffer more deaths, they are not going to be able to defend this.
They're not going to be able to defend it, and actually Unlimited here maybe forced away. That's a good culling from Genja, but he will have to back off as the barrel slides in. This is at least 1 Nexus turret going down. Binding doesn't connect. There is the Nexus turret, and the Copenhagen Wolves, I think wisely here, going to back away from it.
10,000 gold lead with Baron still on their side. Their inhibitor has respawned, and they have super minions streaming into the base of Gambit. Copenhagen Wolves are going to grab their 8th tower of the game now, as there is a massive minion wave on this bottom half of the map. This should go down very, very quickly. Gambit, they can't contest this. They went in one by one a few minutes ago in the jungle. It backfired, and it allowed Copenhagen Wolves to get even further ahead as far as map control is concerned.
8-4 in turrets, 35.5 minutes into this one, 10-16 kills. And if you look at the gold, as you said, 10,000 gold is the lead for the Copenhagen Wolves. That's only going to extend. They pick up themselves another dragon. Meanwhile, we actually have minions pushing in that top side of the map right now.
What I'd like to highlight about that giant glowing red siege minion is that is a Banner of Command upgraded minion from Youngbuck. We talked about how this composition of the Wolves wants to control the map and control the lanes. And when you've got Heimerdinger zoning out, say, a mid lane or a side lane, you can have that upgraded Banner of Command siege minion dealing with the others. It's going to be pushing, it's going to be forcing Gambit to deal with that wave. Otherwise, they're going to lose a massive chunk of hit points on their last remaining towers. So Copenhagen Wolves are just going to continue playing this game. If you catch someone from Gambit out, blow every ability you have to kill him. Then force a 5-on-4 siege with turrets and upgraded minions on your side, and all of a sudden Gambit have next to no option to deal with.
What is the Next step here, though, for the Wolves. We've got 150 until that Baron. Of course, the Copenhagen Wolves took the last one. It did take them a while to finish that one off, and it wouldn't really surprise me here to see the Wolves, who have traditionally been a very careful team when it comes to converting leads into victories so far here in this spring split. But they are with 3 men in the top side of the map. Gambit are going to have to push around to that top side and make sure that they keep things defended. Here, actually, Unlimited might be able to steal. No, Genja just dashes forward, gets the double auto attack, but Gambit a little bit out of position here on this tower.
Yeah, the problem is, what are they going to do when they get under the tower? Their wave clear is with Zed and Rise when his ultimate's up. Morgana's not going to do a whole lot. That's the reason that Alex is trying to play the map. They realize they're going to lose their fight. Darion's forced away. Copenhagen Wolves are going to get on this turret. Here comes Alex. Finally, there's some wave clear. It's too little, it's too late, and another turret's going to go down shortly.
Very shortly. Promise. In just a couple of moments. Forgiven does step forward there. One more auto attack from him will seal the deal, and we can see that Gambit stepping ever so further forward here. There's a barrel knocking Darian out. He actually flashes away to safety, but he's going to have to go back and heal. Turret is now gone. That's both inhib turrets down. The middle inhibitor has actually respawned here, so there's not just this inhib, but a second one for the Wolves to go for afterwards.
Yeah, look at this. The Wolves still sticking around. They've got so many tools available to them. Diamond trying to get in range, but there's nothing he can do. He's got that turtle stance. He's tanking up members, but all he's going to do is survive a while. Let's see if he can get a kill.
Amazing right in there. He's just thrown his ultimate down. Gets a big shield from that one as well. They force Gambit away from this inhibitor. Diamond at less than half HP, and there is the inhib going down. They'll move straight away towards that middle one where Gambit won't be able to put up any kind of fight, and that is in perfect timing for the Baron to come into play. Will the Wolves take this one? Will they go for it right now if they have to, because Gambit are coming out chasing?
Gambit need to find a perfect fight. They had no wave clear up until that point because Alex was split pushing on the side lanes. He was trying to get some form of map control in favor of Gambit, and it was too little and it was too late. Finally, when Alex tries to siege, oh, Edward's dead.
Sure is. Not much more to say about that one. Walking into the trap as Genja catches the ace in the hole. Half of his health goes. Alex is trying to get it from the side. Deathmark comes on to Unlimited. Well, look at the control in there from that one. Alex does manage to get away to his shadow, but look how low the entire Gambit team's gone from that one. He's actually got vision of them there. I was going to say face check, but he does have vision of those men on the top side of red.
So two things. Unlimited pops the Mikhail's Crucible on himself to heal, in addition to building ability power. He's got a Leandri's Torment and a needlessly large rod. This is an AP support Karma right now. Thanks to that additional ability power, the shield that he now has is allowing him to survive the burst of Alex Hitch on Zed. Gambit cannot contest this. They took too much damage. They lost Edward in the process. Copenhagen Wolves are going to grab the second Baron of the game. They have super minions streaming down 2 lanes for themselves, and with the Banner of Command, they can upgrade one of that massive, one of the minions in that massive wave in the bottom lane and try force the final inhib turret down. At this point, Gambit simply can't deal with the zone control that Wolves have, because that zone is the entire map.
And we did see them, pretty much all of them, with a lot of gold after that one. And probably the biggest item is Youngblood's Guardian Angel is now in there. So not only is it hard to get into him without taking absolute masses of damage, well, you're going to have to do it twice here if you want to finish him off. 4-1-3. First Heimerdinger we've seen, definitely impressed so far.
Yeah, and at this point in time, Genja, Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, Static Shiv. He's got no armor penetration. You look at all of the armor on the side of the Copenhagen Wolves. There's a lot of HP and armor for Young Buck, Amazing, and Countard with that Hourglass. Now Countard's going to go in. I think they can maybe steal this blue. All these people are in trouble.
A lot of damage coming in. His Diamond actually takes the ace in the hole, and now they turn around towards Alex. He dashes over the side, but Edward lost his life there to Youngbuck, and that is 5 versus 4 now. 50-second spawn time on Edward. They've got minions streaming in towards the inhibitor turret. Gambit might have to just back away from this one.
Gambit have never had a 5-on-5 tower defense this entire game. Alex has been split pushing. The teleport from Youngbuck just to make the minion impervious to damage is going to allow Copenhagen Wolves to get the tower. With Edward down and Soul Shackle's not there to lock people up, the turret has fallen. There are super minions in the top lane. There are super minions in the middle lane. Copenhagen Wolves could be in for the final push.
Amazing coming around the side. Got his ulti onto 2. Diamond gonna flash away, but will he get away from the final damage? No, he won't. Double kill. And now they push both Alex and Genja back in there. These Nexus turrets already losing their lives, and the Copenhagen Wolves start off the final week of the split with a win over Gambit.
They played phenomenal around their champions, with the Heimerdinger for zone control and the Evelyn for flanking, plus the great poke and farming that Gragas, Caitlyn and Karma offer you. The Copenhagen Doves, as they would have you call them today, secure a win. They are one win away now for guaranteeing 6th spot and ensuring that the Super Hot crew as well as Millennium go to the promotion tournament. In fact, this win guarantees Millennium have no more chances of making it to the playoffs. Millennium are the first team confirmed for the summer promotion tournament.
And this is the danger we talked about at the start of the day, that despite Millennium's great win over the Super Hot crew, their fate was not in their hands. It was in the hands of the Copenhagen Wolves, who you could argue maybe not the worst team to have your fate placed in their hands, but look at the wins that they pulled off here. The wins against Millennium, against